Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of whatever this is. I'm recording from my place in Heidelberg Heights. I've been really unorganized. I've been sick. I feel fine, but I'm still congested, and I'm also moving house. I don't want to. This is a terrible, unflattering angle because I've literally propped up my phone against my laptop, and I'm just gonna read the next section from the Time book, which I haven't even looked at what it is. But you guys get to go on this little journey with me. I mean, I've read it all before twice, but you know, yeah, I remember reading the future chapter, but I did a really mediocre job of reading it. I recommend you look these up yourself. I don't know how easy the pamphlet is to get. It's by School of Life, but I think in each video I've said the name of the author, so I'm sure if you Google the author and then the name of the essay, it's online somewhere for free. Anyway, I'll continue. The next piece is called Appreciating the Present, and it is by someone named Ed Hallowell. There's a 1 in 2 chance your mind is on something else as you read this sentence. A study by Harvard psychologists in 2010 asked people to track their thoughts and feelings and activities at random intervals, and discovered that they spend 46.9% of their time doing one thing while thinking about another. They also found this daydreaming makes them more unhappy than if they were paying attention to the present moment, even when it's unpleasant. This probably sounds counterintuitive, but distracting ourselves from difficult experiences seems to exacerbate rather than reduce the stress they cause. When the mind wanders, it's usually drawn into negative ruminations or projection, making us feel worse than if we simply focus on our actual experience. Gently bringing our minds back to the present can help us let go of these unhelpful interpretations and see situations for what they are, rather than getting pulled into angry, fearful, or depressing thoughts about them. When what we're doing is pleasant, this means we can enjoy and appreciate life much more. We can savor the sensations of a tasty meal rather than wolfing it down absent-mindedly, missing the moment as we fret about an earlier conversation, or how we'll manage our next set of tasks. When the experience is unpleasant, such as when we're unwell, paying attention without being judgmental helps to manage sensations such as discomfort or irritation, without fruitlessly trying to wrestle them away, or getting stuck in self-defeating thoughts such as, I hate feeling like this, or what if I never get better? Just going to pause there for a second and comment on how pertinent I find this as someone who has been diagnosed with fibromyalgia and someone who struggles with chronic pain, chronic fatigue, the anxiety and the kind of despair and depression that comes from being like, this is my life's ruined, I'm never going to be able to do what I wanted, I'm never going to be able to climb mountains, I'm never going to be able to hike, and I don't want to sell false hope or preach a simplistic narrative that everything will actually be fine and illness is just psychological. It's much more complicated than that. But what I have found is, for me, when I actually accepted those things and was like, my life will actually still be really great. You know, if I can't climb a mountain, that's okay. I can still walk up a hill. You know, and experiencing these things. And now my fibromyalgia symptoms, as a rule, touch wood, are so reduced that I actually can. Sorry, someone was yelling outside. I can do all the things I want to do. But anyway, carrying on. Mindset, mind over matter. Your attitude determines your altitude, bro. This stuff is simplistic and cliche and annoying to hear, but there's a kernel of truth. When I'm hearing this shit and I'm feeling annoyed or negative about it, I try to frame it as, it's not basic, it's not annoying, it's fundamental. It's fundamental. And that reframing has been helpful for me when I'm oh, we're getting leadership training at work, and then you go and the guy's like, you should talk to your employees about how they feel about a project. And I'm just like, yeah, fucking duh. But Anyway. By noticing what's happening with gentle curiosity, we start to work constructively with the events of our lives. We cultivate awareness and resilience, creating the space for wise responses. Unfortunately, our minds tend to drift off without permission. The faculty of voluntarily bringing back a wandering attention over and over again is the very root of judgment, character, and will. William James wrote 120 years ago. But it's easier to define this ideal than to give practical directions for bringing it about. Directions are available, however, in the form of meditation practices that have been part of Eastern traditions for several thousands of years. These practices train us in mindfulness, the art of paying attention, and there's strong evidence this helps us in a range of ways, from managing low mood, anxiety, and pain, to enhancing creativity, choice, and compassion. Hundreds of scientific studies suggest mindful awareness is beneficial to our well-being. Thanks to the recent explosion of interest in mindfulness, something I want to talk about at length in other videos. Thanks to the recent explosion of interest in mindfulness, attitudes to meditation are changing. Mindfulness-based cognitive therapy is now recommended as an NHS treatment for recurring depression, while mindfully noticing is one of 5 ways to well-being highlighted in a report from the government-backed analysts at Foresight. Mindfulness isn't a quick fix. Like any skill, it requires commitment and practice. But with persistent, gentle efforts, we are able to retrain our brains and bodies towards feeling more peaceful and content. The practice is best learned from an experienced guide, but here are a few ways to get started in real time management. Pay attention to your breathing. Find a quiet space and concentrate on the flow of your breath in and out. When your mind begins to wander, gently bring it back to noticing your breathing. Bring awareness to sensations of touch. Our bodies are always in the present moment. Consciously feeling your feet on the floor, your bottom on a chair, or your clothes against your skin can bring your mind back too. Watch your speed 3 times a day. For 1 minute, simply stop what you're doing and notice what's happening in your mind and body. Becoming more familiar with your mind's habitual patterns can help you to work with them much more skillfully. Ed Hallowell leads mindfulness courses and workshops at the School of Life in Sussex. This is something that I've started watching a lecture series by a guy whose name I'll post in the description. This is going to be a recurring thing with me, just blanking on names. It's called Awakening from the Meaning Crisis. It's a lecture series, and I've only watched the first episode, so I'm not going to really come at you until I've watched a little bit more. But already I'm like, this is the good shit. And he talks about the meaning crisis in society, and he talks about the embracing of contemplation, mindfulness, meditation as a result of that, and something of a salve, cure, treatment at the very least. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'm sure I could waffle on about this. I'm tidying my room and I'm feeling good because I feel my self-image as a literati is being restored by noticing all the good books I own, many of which I have actually read, which is nice and a bit of a change from like 5 years ago when I owned lots of books that looked fancy but I hadn't read almost any of them. Anyway, thank you so much. Sayonara. Have a lovely day, rest of your day.